Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Second Take. I'm your host, Armand Sather. That's my co-host, Jill. Jill, how's it going?
Everything's good except for the fact it is still freezing in Austin, Texas. Still freezing. I'm not ready for it. I don't like it, but I can't complain. We got the NFL playoffs. We have the national championship tonight. It's my time right now. It's my time.
Oh yeah, no, it's a very good weekend. I enjoyed the weekend very much. Be a good night tonight. So let's jump right into all of the action. Let's talk about some NFL first. We saw the Buffalo Bills hired Rex Ryan today. I think that was a good move on their part. I don't have any issues with Rex Ryan's coaching abilities. He led the Jets to two straight AFC championships. Granted, they had a good team back then, so that's why it happened. The Jets' woes as of late has been a result of their lack of talent. I think that the Bills have a lot of potential. The Bills showed a lot of progression this season. I think that Rex Ryan can improve their defense a lot, and I think it was a good move for Buffalo.
No. Rex Ryan sucks. What did I see? I saw on the Sports Center alert that in the past, 6 seasons, they were 52-50 or something. You have one job as a coach, is to win, okay? And he hasn't done that. And it's just kind of moving from one, really hurting franchise to another. So, he'll feel at home on a team that can't, ever live up to his expectations. And the Jets are having some other issues. Chris Johnson is now dealing with a gun charge. It's just adding insult to injury over there. But maybe it'll work out for the Bills. Maybe it's the Jets. I don't know, but
well,
I wouldn't call this a great move. I would just kind of say it was a move.
Well, can you really put the blame on a coach who's not winning when he doesn't really have the pieces to put together a team that can win?
Well, he had pieces to make it happen, I think. LaDainian Tomlinson was there for a brief stint. LaDainian Tomlinson is one of the greatest running backs I've ever seen.
Right.
Geno Smith, he had his thing in college, but it's not like they're – okay, they had Mark Sanchez. We made it work with Mark Sanchez this year. Mark Sanchez does have what it takes to win. So, it's a lot of it is coaching. They made it to the NFL for a reason. These players made it to the NFL. That means that they have some talent to be on an NFL team. They still need their coaches, though, and that's the part of the puzzle that wasn't there.
Oh, you're right. No, good players definitely do need coaches, and I think the Jets were very good when they had LaDainian Tomlinson. I'm not sold on Geno Smith as a quarterback, not really sold on Vic. Mark Sanchez had his good times with the Jets. He has bad times with the Jets. As I said, they had good pieces and they didn't have good pieces, and we saw that as a result. They were good when they had good players and bad when they had bad players. I don't really want to put the blame on Rex Ryan. I'm going to have to disagree with you here. I think that he can really make things happen in Buffalo. I'm not saying that they're going to win their division, go deep into the playoffs, but it's a start. I think that they're going to do some good drafting with this draft class. A lot of good players come out of this draft class. And I see good things for the Buffalo Bills' future. It'll definitely take time, though, as it always does. Moving on, though, we're going to take a quick trip to the NBA before we talk about the NFL playoffs. LeBron James has been sitting out as of late. We know that there's been some alleged internal issues in the Cavs organization with David Blatt and LeBron James. There's some speculation that LeBron James is sitting out as sort of a boycott of playing for David Blatt. I think people think that LeBron's looking for David Blatt to be fired. Kevin Love is also talking about how he might opt out of his contract at the end of the season. Granted, there was a lot of good talk about the Cavs when that team came together. This season, though they haven't been doing terribly, they haven't been doing as good as everyone thought they would. And, there's just been a lot of drama surrounding that organization. So I don't know. What do you think is going to happen there, Joe?
I just want to say real quick, I called it, by the way. I said this would not work out, and then it just didn't work out. As far as LeBron and David Blatt goes, LeBron wants to do what Kobe did. Kobe on the Lakers sees a coach he doesn't like, he gets rid of him. Okay, but LeBron, you just got there. I don't care if you were there. You just came from a completely different organization. So he needs to just suck it up, honestly. As far as Kevin Love, he's still trying to find his place. as much success as he had, he wants a winning team. And I think the Lakers would be a pretty good fit. Like, no bias there. No bias. But I think they'd be a good fit. But, the Cavs, it's like they weren't winning, so now they're trying to figure out other excuses to explain why they weren't winning. Other than the fact it just hasn't worked. It's still like these people don't know each other enough to play together and win, and it's just a whole bunch of drama that doesn't need to be happening, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, we said this at the beginning of the season. You can put stars together, they can do well, but they're not going to mesh immediately. I mean, they have a new superstar in LeBron James, a new superstar in Kevin Love. They just picked up J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert. They have a new head coach.
Oh, wait, I got to talk about that. Like, Melo, man. Like, Melo is now how Rajon Rondo was for the past few years. Everybody left him, and he's just standing there like, all right, like, Melo, if I was him, just you had the chance to leave, and it's I have my issues with that trade as well. I feel like, because, I mean, not saying J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert are some great players. I mean, they're good players, have peaked already, but they're good players. But it's just like some of these trades, especially all the trades that have happened to get to the Cavs, have surprised me. Like the fact that Kevin Love was allowed to go there, the fact that, LeBron was allowed to join, all these things, it's weird because the old NBA would have shot those down, and this new NBA doesn't. And I'm going to keep on bringing up the fact that Chris Paul was supposed to come to the Lakers, and David Stern shut that down. So, the Cavs, it's like they're above the law in the NBA.
And I'm going to keep proving your point wrong by saying that David Stern did not allow Chris Paul to leave the Hornets because they literally would have had nobody else on that team. Chris Paul was clearly their franchise player. That trade just would have been completely unfair. But you're absolutely right. I totally feel bad for Melo. I was watching the Knicks game the other day, and he was sitting on the sideline just looking completely upset, completely detached. He did not look happy to be where he was, shaking his head, sighing. I mean, I really do feel bad for the guy because a couple seasons ago, people were looking at the Knicks as the team that could beat the Miami Heat and go to the finals. And now they're, 5-32?
And I was talking to one of my friends about it, and I was just like, we're looking at the Eastern Conference playoffs. Who's in it? Who is in the East that is going to play? I mean, other than the Heat, the Pacers were irrelevant last year, but now they're not. There's the Knicks, please. I mean, it's bad. We need to. I have my beef with the playoff system in the NBA, but and I was talking about it as well for the All-Star game. They're gonna bring Melo no matter what. It's just one of those things. Like Kobe's still gonna make it, even though the Lakers are horrible this year. Same thing with Melo. He's still gonna make it. He's gonna be there crying, saying, "Why am I not on a team with one of you guys?" But
yeah, definitely feel bad for them. But there's a lot of talk about what the Knicks will be doing in the offseason. They're currently targeting Goran Dragic. They're also looking to pick up LaMarcus Aldridge. They did pick up Timothy Mozgov in these moves that they've been making, but they've essentially lost everything. They still got Amari Stoudemire and his very expensive contract, even though he's done nothing the past couple seasons. But they still have him, so maybe they'll win 10 games. The Grizzlies recently acquired Jeff Green. That's a good pickup for them. Jeff Green was a member of the Celtics. Rondo left, so I'm guessing that the Celtics are going to try and tank as well. That looks like what the Knicks are doing. So good pickup for the Grizzlies. I think Jeff Green can add a lot to them offensively and defensively. The Thunder recently acquired Dion Waiters. Good pickup for OKC. We just lost Dabo Cephalosha this offseason, so we have a scoring shooting guard. I think Dion Waiters would be good starting off the bench. Regardless of where he's been playing, I think that he's a good pickup for us. But let us move on to the NFL playoffs. So the first game this weekend, we saw the Ravens take on the Patriots. Ravens looked very good early on. They jumped out to a 14-0 lead. But the thing about the New England Patriots is you cannot count them out until the game is over. The Ravens looked very good in the first half. It was a very impressive first half. Tom Brady did put up some points early on, and then we saw in the third and fourth quarter the Patriots kind of just gained the advantage, and they ended up winning in the end. as Tom Brady normally does, his late game heroics. So they'll be hosting the AFC Championship game next week against my Indianapolis Colts, who picked up a nice win last night against the Denver Broncos. I was a little surprised that we beat them, honestly. I mean, I always have confidence in my team.
Shocked. I mean, no disrespect to your Colts or anything, but I just thought the Broncos were going to win it, and then in the game, it was a very boring game, first of all. And second of all, I felt like the Broncos just kind of like sat there, like Peyton Manning was not Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was overthrowing everybody. I mean, like there was one drive where he was just taking big shots down towards the end zone and overthrew Demaryius Thomas and then Emmanuel Sanders. And I mean, it was not the Peyton I'm used to, and it was weird. I did not expect the Colts to win that game. I mean, shocked. And they have to play the Patriots next week. I'm gonna have to say Patriots. Patriots for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I always believe in my team. I was hoping for us to win, and we did last night. Our defense looked very good against the Denver Broncos defense. It was actually just released today that Peyton Manning was playing with a torn right quad the past couple weeks. And we know that he's lost a lot of ability ever since his surgery. His arm strength has weakened significantly. His accuracy has weakened significantly as a result of that as well. Peyton Manning's still definitely one of the best to ever do it, but he's just not the guy that he used to be. He did not look very great last night. And the Colts won in pretty convincing fashion. Looking to next week, I don't, playing in New England is going to be difficult for us. I mean, it's cold. It is the Patriots' home stadium. That's definitely one of the toughest stadiums to play in the NFL. But can't count my Colts out. I mean, people counted us out against the Bengals. We beat them. People counted us out against the Broncos last night. We beat them. So I'm going to show some confidence in my team, and I think that we can make this push to the Super Bowl. Moving on, we saw the Cowboys take on the Packers yesterday as well. We saw the Packers win, and Cowboys fans are completely disheveled, angry, upset. There was a very questionable call towards the end of the game. Dez Bryant made a very, very impressive catch. Looked like a catch. It wasn't a catch. I think I honestly can't decide whether or not I think it was a catch or not. Like I was literally going back and forth all day yesterday. I mean, it does look good, but it didn't look like he had complete possession. But then I don't know. But the point I want to make is that we saw last week how the Cowboys defeated the Lions after a very questionable call that was in the Cowboys' favor. This week we saw the Cowboys lose after a very questionable call. Cowboys fans were all ecstatic last week, talking about, oh, you can't leave the game up to the refs. One play doesn't decide a game. This week, all they could talk about was the Dez Bryant catch or the Dez Bryant non-catch. And the problem is the Cowboys let it get to that point where the refs could decide on a play that sort of turned the tide of the game. It was a very tight game, very good game. The Packers and Cowboys played very well. But you cannot leave the game up to the refs, and that's my point. I feel the Packers are very impressive. Devontae Adams, I believe his name was, he had a phenomenal game at receiver. Aaron Rodgers looked great. And next week they'll be taking on the Seattle Seahawks, who trounced the Panthers. A lot of people thought the Panthers could upset the Seahawks, and that did not happen. Cam Newton did not look very good. Seahawks defense is always top-notch. I mean, you don't want to pass against the Seahawks, but Cam Newton tried, and he failed. And it's going to be a tough game for the Packers. A lot of people think the Packers can go into Seattle and do it. I don't really think so. I think that we'll be looking at a Colts-Seahawks Super Bowl, personally. Jill already said she thinks the Patriots are going to win, so I guess her pick would be a Patriots-Seahawks Super Bowl. But regardless, I think that we have a lot of different matchups that would all be very good for a Super Bowl matchup. I think that they could all be pretty tight games. So looking forward to championship weekend next week. And speaking of championships, we have...
you're not going to even let me comment on it?
Oh, no, please, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
You always cut me off, so go ahead.
First off, shout out to the Panthers. You got your playoff win, and, sucks you had to lose, but, hey, it happens. As far as the bad call, whatever we want to call it, every sports fan can talk about a game that they lost to a bad call. It is part of the game, okay? It sucks, and it sucks. It really sucks, but it happens to every single one of us. Every single team, does not matter who you are or what. It happens, okay, because refs have to make that split-second decision. Was it there or was it not? this was ruled a catch on the field, and then Green Bay challenged it and won the challenge. I was surprised that they won the challenge because it was called a catch on the field. I didn't know if there was enough to overturn it. In my opinion, it was a catch. I felt that he had possession when he hit the ground, and his knee was down with possession of the ball. And then as he continued to lunge forward, it fell out. So, you know, I saw it as a catch. I could understand why they overturned it. You know, everyone's coming out saying why or why not. You know, the thing is, it happened. And my point about this is, you know, even if they had gotten the touchdown, okay, so what, the Cowboys were down 26-21 at this point, then they would have been up by a few. But then there was 4 minutes left in the game, and you're going to give Aaron Rodgers 4 minutes? Please. Do you think you could win that game still? It doesn't matter if they got that score because they were going to lose regardless. Like, that loss was going to happen. It's not like this call lost the game for it. They lost the game for themselves, and the Packers are going to win. It was just how it was going to happen. So, yes, sulk as much as you want, Cowboys fans, but it happened. It happens to us all. You're not special because the refs made a bad call against you. It happened to the team you played last weekend, and you didn't care when it was the other team, but you hate it when it's yours. And, yes, I understand we're all like that. But as far as Packers, Seahawks, I think that's going to be a good game. I don't know who's going to win it, but it's kind of funny because, remember, going into the season, you and I both said Seahawks back to the Super Bowl. And then as they started off pretty badly, we're like, oh, no, we retract that statement. But, hey, it looks like we're kind of right.
Yeah, no, it's definitely nice to be right. I completely agree with everything you said, though. You know, Cowboys fans are kind of the reason that a lot of people don't like the Dallas Cowboys, despite the fact they're America's team. It was called a catch on the field. Clearly, there was enough evidence to overturn it. I think that call is going to be disputed till next season when another questionable call is made. I mean, Cowboys fans are always going to be salty about that. But just come back next season. The Cowboys, you have nothing to be upset about. You had a great season. Tony Romo looked great. DeMarco Murray had a great season. Des Bryant had a great season. Could come back next season ready, and don't let it get to the point where you have to leave it up to the refs to, you know, destroy teams and get to the Super Bowl. But there is a big game coming up tonight, the first ever college football playoff national championship, history-making game, new trophy, new playoff system, new way to determine the number one team in the country, and let us describe the teams that we have. In one corner, we have the Oregon Ducks, who are in search of their first national title. They've in the last 2 decades, they've become very relevant in college football. You know, they've been a very flashy team, very flashy uniforms, flashy play. They play host to the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback Marcus Mariota, who could become the 7th Heisman Trophy winner to win the national championship in the same season that he won the Heisman. He's thrown 103 touchdowns and just 13 interceptions in his career starting at Oregon, where he's won 35 games. Oregon has 9 straight wins, all of which by double digits, ever since their loss to Arizona in October. However, they'll be missing their best receiver, or most productive receiver rather, Darren Carrington, who failed an NCAA-administered drug test. They'll also be missing their second most productive receiver, Devon Allen, who got injured in the Rose Bowl. He hurt his knee. So, I mean, that's Oregon. And then in the other corner, we have Ohio State in search of their 5th national title. They made it this far without their star quarterback, Braxton Miller, and through the efforts of their 3rd-string quarterback, Cardale Jones, who helped to upset Alabama in the Sugar Bowl last week. They have 12 straight wins since their loss to Virginia Tech in September, and their head coach, Urban Meyer, is looking to become the 2nd coach in college football history to win a national championship with 2 schools, joining the ranks of Nick Saban, who did it with LSU and Alabama. And interestingly, Ohio State is 8-0 versus Oregon in the last 8 games that they have met, in the only 8 games that they've met, rather. So we have a very, very interesting storyline here. I personally think that Oregon's going to get it done. I think that Marcus Mariota has been too dominant this season. The only thing I would have to worry about for the Oregon Ducks, I mean, something that you always worry about is their defense. They're not a defensive team, clearly. They put up a lot of points, and they just hope that you put up less points than them. That is how you win games after all. But, yeah, so I'm going to have to go with Oregon in this game, but I would not count Ohio State out. I mean, they fought through a lot of adversity this season with Braxton Miller being gone and then their 2nd-string quarterback being injured as well. Cardale Jones came in, really got it done for them in the Sugar Bowl. Big game against Alabama where they upset Alabama. So, and this game has been dubbed Tradition. rich versus cutting edge. Ohio State, very traditionally good team. Oregon, a cutting edge team as of late. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting game, and something's going to have to give. So what are you thinking here?
You know, Ohio State, I love the story, starting quarterback that everybody knows, Braxton Miller, out. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Still kill it under the second string. Then the second string goes out, and then you're left with Cardale Jones for the last game of the season. It's a good story, and I like it, and, hats off to them because, they really got the bad end of the stick from the NCAA a few years ago when they should have been national champions, but, they had that bowl ban. My thing is, Oregon is just too good, okay? Oregon's just too good, and I've said it every single week. They put up 40 points against each team, at least, They don't just beat someone. They destroy them, and that's what they do. It's their thing, and they're good at it. And Cardale Jones has been a great fill-in, great quarter. I mean, I'm so jealous of their depth, and I've said that so many times. So jealous of their quarterback depth. But I don't think a team led by a third-string quarterback can beat a team led by a Heisman-winning quarterback. And it's not just Marcus, it's the whole team that just – and, yes, they're going to be hurting at wide receiver, but I think they're still going to be okay. And you talk about their defense, not a defensive team, but they are going against a different Ohio State offense than it would have been earlier in the season. And I think it's going to be a good game. But I don't see Oregon losing this, and a lot of people are picking Ohio State over them, and I can't do that because I do not think that Oregon is willing to lose this. I mean, this is everything for them, everything. Like they want this national championship, and Ohio State has theirs, and Urban Meyer is a great coach. But I mean, Oregon, that is talent right there because even once Chip Kelly left, they were still doing really well. So. I gotta go with Oregon. I gotta do it. I got faith in Marcus. I got a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the last couple seasons, Oregon has obviously had very, very great teams, a lot of great talent. DeAnthony Thomas, all the guys that they've sent to the NFL who are doing phenomenal in their careers. But I think that this season is the season for Oregon. Clearly, the fact that they finally got to the national championship. The last couple seasons, they played in a BCS game. They've been regular season hype, and they just haven't made it to the brass ring at the end of the season. But this season, they finally did. I don't think they're going to let this opportunity pass them by, and I don't see Ohio State being able to hold their offense to enough points to score more than them and win the game. I don't think there's any defense in college football that can stop the Oregon offense. It's just they're too high energy, too athletic. Marcus Mariota is just obviously the best quarterback in college football. There's no doubt in my mind he'll be drafted first in the NFL draft. It's just looking like it's Oregon's championship for the taking. But I do think that Ohio State's going to rise to the occasion. I think Cardale Jones is really going to look inside himself and realize this is a big game for him. There's a lot of pressure on him.
But by no means will this be like a shootout or a rout, nothing like that. I think it's going to be a game, and it's not going to be Oregon versus FSU where we just see Ohio State just crumble and self-destruct. It's not going to be that at all. But like you said, there's no defense that can really beat, Oregon's offense. I mean, like maybe the Seahawks can handle Oregon's offense, but it's just you got this quarterback who can throw, can run, can do everything, who just really can read the field and read the situation better than most quarterbacks can. It's like he was gifted with it, and Cardale Jones has done a great job, and I do not want to discredit him at all, but he's not Marcus Mariota. Nobody else really is, Everybody thought FSU was going to make it all the way, and Oregon stomped on that real quick, and Ohio State had a great win against Alabama, but Alabama is no Oregon, and there's no other Oregon, so no one's prepared to play Oregon. So it's going to be fun, but I gotta go with the Ducks. Gotta go with the Ducks. Quack attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, there's a lot of pressure on Cardale Jones as a third-string quarterback stepping into the national championship. He had a phenomenal performance. I don't know if he'll be able to repeat that, the performance that he had against Alabama. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be tough.
Ohio State next year, whoever their quarterback is, they're going to be the team to beat next year, because we can't say that this is like a one-year fluke. I mean, they're going to come back stronger next year, because now they have 3 very experienced quarterbacks that they can use to their disposal, and they're going to. And it's Ohio State next year. You know, we don't know what Oregon's going to be like without Marcus Mariota, but I can guarantee you Ohio State is going to be a great team next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just how far they came this season is definitely a testament to their depth. So they have a lot to look forward to. But as we've discussed many times over the course of many different sports, anything can happen on any given day. Any team can go down in any game. So I'll definitely be watching this game very closely. But I do think that Oregon is going to come out on top. I'd say maybe win by 7 or 8 points, personally. But, yeah, so College Football National Championship is here, meaning that college football will be leaving us after this evening. Very unfortunate. We both love college football here on Second Take. But watch the game. We'll have a nice recap for you guys next week. And I believe that is all we have. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll definitely be back, of course, to discuss championship weekend in the NFL, more NBA, and we will be discussing our new #1 team in college football, the national champion for this year. Thank you, guys. Have a good one.